good day to all of you. I welcome you again to this lecture 2 of Unit 2. We are discussing the two-port network. As you remember, in the last class, we have discussed the basic definition of a two-port network. We have also seen that a port can be a single port, a two-port, or in generalization, we can also say that a network can be an N-port network. Okay. So this much we have discussed. We have discussed the definition of a port. What does a port look like? If you remember, just for recap, I would like to uh, again repeat it that a pair of terminals at which a signal may enter or leave from the network is called a port. And I have shown it to you that, for example, this is if a network is known to us. We don't know how the interconnection of different elements are there in the network, but we can access the current and voltage. And if we know the current and voltage, then obviously the power we also know. So that means we can have voltage, current, and power. That is a derived element from voltage and current. If we can access these two basic quantities at the terminal ends. Obviously, if you know V and I, then you know power also, and V by I is impedance. So you know impedance also. So that means at one port we can access these quantities. These are measurable quantities. Okay, you can measure them. Okay, V and I, we can measure them. And next, I have told you that we can generalize this concept to N ports. We will in this unit focus our discussion only to the two-port electrical networks. Okay, so we have discussed it see, just I want to review it. Then we have discussed that any port can be characterized by two basic quantities, that is V1 and I1 and V2 and I2. Now, the relationship between V1 and I1 and V2 and I2 will give us different parameters. Okay, this matrix which I have written in terms of N11, N12, N21, and N22 will change depending upon which parameter you are taking as the input and which parameter you are taking at the output side, or what is the relationship, whether you are taking V1 and I1 as as a set of variables and the other set of variables as V2 and I2. Similarly, if you are taking V1 and V2 as one variables and I1 and I2 as other variables, so all these four variables can be arranged differently. For example, I have four variables. Have I already shown you that I have V1 I1 and V2 I2. So I can choose two at a time. For example, if I have V1 I1 and V2 and I2, then at a time I can choose any two of them as a set of variables. For example, if that means the combination theory can be applied, that is, I have to choose 2 out of 4, that is 4C2. So it becomes 4 factorial divided by 2 factorial into 2 factorial. So it becomes 4 factorial is 24. So this is divided by 4, so it becomes 6. So 6 combinations are possible. That means 6 parameters can exist. Okay, because I can select each one of them as one variable. I can take V1 and I1 as one variable, V1 and V2 as another variable, V1 and I2 as another variable, and so on. Okay, so the total of 6 is possible. So I welcome you again to this lecture 2. As I have already written it for you, that the classification of parameters, this is same, that just I have shown you that the 6 parameters are possible which can define a network. 6 parameters are possible, and each of them we will take one by one. So the first and most common one is Z parameters. Z because it is also known as impedance parameters, or other name is open circuit parameters. Okay, open circuit parameters. Another one is Y, that is short circuit or admittance parameters, or admittance parameters. Third one is hybrid parameters. Fourth one is G, inverse of hybrid. Fifth one is ABCD, that is the transmission line parameters, or they are also known as T line parameters. T line parameters. And the sixth one, the last one, is the inverse ABCD parameters. So usually the most common one are this Z, second one is Y, third one is H, and the fourth one is ABCD. So usually we use only these parameters. Inverse is always possible. For example, Z is inverse of Y. So if you know a Z matrix, then the inverse of this Z matrix will always give you the Y matrix. So all these parameters Z and Y, although are independent, but they are related with this relation. That is, if you take the inverse of the matrix of Z, you will get a Y matrix. Okay, and in inverse, you know that for 2 by 2 matrix, you can easily have the inverse of that matrix. Even for 3 by 3 matrix, the inverse is not very difficult. If you know the adjoint as well as the property which are given by the matrix, you can easily calculate uh, these parameters. Okay. Now, once you know these parameters, you will take one by one. Just one or two things I would also like to comment here, that two ports can be electrical as well as non-electrical also. So it means that if you have a machine like this, for example, if you have an induction motor, then it can also have two ports. So as you know that the induction motor, the one first port is electrical. Okay, that means you are giving the electrical power as an input, and it is a motor. So at the output, you are getting a mechanical power. Okay, mechanical power. So that is port two also. Okay, so this is also an example of two port networks, but here our discussion will be restricted only to the two port networks in which both the input as well as our output are electrical quantities. As you know that the input is electrical, that is V and I. The input is electrical, but the output is mechanical in nature. That means at the output you are getting the quantities of torque and speed. So although it is an example of a two-port network, but it is not an example of a electrical two-port network. Similarly, for generator also, you know that at the input the port is mechanical, but at output we get electrical power for any generator, whether it is a DC generator or AC generator. The output will always be electrical. It does not make any difference whether the output is DC or AC. It is electrical in nature. So as you can see that this output will be electrical. Okay, so once it is electrical, this is also becomes a two-port network, but this does not signify to strictly to our definition of two-port electrical networks, although they have one mechanical uh, port. Okay, you can say they have one mechanical port. For the motors, the mechanical port is output. For generators, the mechanical port is input. Okay. If you consider the example of a transformer, which we have already taken, you will see that in the case of transformer is a device which converts one voltage uh, at one level to another level at same frequency. That means if the F remains same and the input is also electrical and the output is also electrical. That means if this is port 1 and this is port 2, both are electrical. So transformer fits in our definition of a two-port electrical network. Okay. So one thing is that we will talk only about two-port electrical network. Okay. That means the input and out should be electrical and output should be electrical. So we can take as many examples which are there available: transformers, op amps, transistor, BJTs, MOSFET, anything which you take comes into this category of two-port network. Second thing is that I always signify that we will be talking only about linear circuits, okay, that follows the Ohm's law. So the matrix are so that our matrix, which will signify our system, will always be having constant coefficients. So the R matrix, that is n11, n12, n21, and n22, will always signify the uh, constant entries or constant, you can say constant coefficients always. Okay. So we will have, because we will take only the linear circuits. Now, with this as a background, we can quickly go to our first parameter, that is Z parameter. Our first parameter, that is Z parameter. Now, for a Z parameter, I should again draw the circuit. This is our network N. Okay, this is our port number 1, and this is our port number 2. Let us mark it as 1, 1 dash, 2 and 2 dash. And this is our voltage V2. The current direction we have taken like this. This is V1. Current direction we have taken like this. And this is the network. You can call it, since we are talking about Z, so to things make things a little bit clear, we can now signify this our structure of circuit as we can represent it with like Z. Okay, so that means the matrix Z will signify this system. So this is basically a system. Okay, you are studying signal and system, so you know what is the difference between a linear system and a non-linear system. So basically, this black box which we have taken, and we don't know what is inside that, but we know that whatever is inside that, we can represent it in form of a matrix, and that matrix will be represented by a 2 by 2 matrix because we have taken two variables on inside and two variables for the output. Our input variables are V1 and I1, and our output variables are V2 and I2. So the relationship between V1 and I1 and V2 and I2 will give you this matrix Z, and this matrix Z is known as impedance matrix. Impedance matrix. So we can write down this relationship like that: V1 and V2. Now we have taken for this Z parameter, we have taken input side voltage and output side voltage V1 and V2 as a function of. Now we have to define the constant coefficients. We have already said that the circuit is linear, so we can define this system as our coefficient matrix Z11, Z12, Z21 and Z22 multiplied by. Now obviously if we have taken V1 and V2 as one set of variables, the other set of variables are quite obvious. They will be I1 and I2. Okay. So if you expand this matrix and write it in equation form, you will find it is very simple equation. V1 is equal to Z11 I1 plus Z12 I2. That is equation 1. It is nothing but it is a KVL equation. As you can see, this is a KVL equation. And V2 is equal to Z21 I1 plus Z22 I2. This is another equation which is also a KVL equation. Now, if you see these two equations, these are basically KVL equations. Okay, what we are seeing that V1 is dependent on I1 and I2, and the dependence, these are the coefficients. Z11 is the coefficient and Z12 are the coefficients. Now, if I2 is 0, then Z11 is equal to V1 by I1. That means somehow, if you make this circuit as open circuit, don't connect a load here, then you can calculate the value of Z11. Okay, just by uh, dividing V1 by I1, that is input voltage by input current. So you will get the input impedance. Okay, because Z11 will give you the relationship between V1 and I1. Similarly, if you want to calculate the value of Z12, what you can do, you can make I1 as 0. Okay. That means if I1 is 0, then Z12 will be equal to V1 upon I2. That is also known as transfer impedance. Similarly, you can calculate the value of Z21 as well as Z22. So, what you are doing, you are open circuiting the ports one by one. Okay, you are open circuiting the ports one by one. If you open circuit the input port, that means if I1 is 0, then you can calculate Z12 as well as Z22. If I1 is 0, these terms will vanish. Z11 I1 will go away and Z21 I1 will go away. So you can calculate Z12 and Z22. Similarly, if I2 is 0, then you can calculate Z11 and Z21. Okay, by V1 by I1 or V2 by. So that because you are open circuiting the port for calculation of these parameters, these Z parameters or impedance parameters are also known as open circuit parameters. These are also known as open circuit parameters. And if you remember correctly, This is open circuit you also do in the open circuit test of a transformer. Okay, if you remember it from your machines class, that this test is also performed on transformer, that is known as open circuit test of a transformer, where you disconnect the load from the disconnect the load, and the I2 becomes 0. So it is not shown in this picture, but the load is connected, that then only the I2 is flowing here in it. If somehow you make this current I2 0, that is very easy. You won't connect a load, so I2 will become automatically 0. So you can calculate the Z11 and Z1. So let us formalize this and write it. So V1 and V2, here in the case of Z parameters, V1 and V2 are dependent variables. They are dependent variables, whereas I1 and I2 are independent variables. That is quite obvious because you are writing V1, V2 in terms of I1 and I2. So obviously I1 and I2 are independent variables. Now you can represent it like this. This you can see that you can formalize it like this, that Z11 is equal to V1 by I1 provided I2 is 0. That means you are open circuiting the port number 2. You are open circuiting the port number 2. So I2 becomes 0. So what is Z11? Z1 is equal to V1 by I1, and this Z11 is known by the name of driving point input impedance. Driving point input impedance, or it is also known as Thevenin impedance. Thevenin impedance if looked from the input side. Similarly, you can calculate if I2 is 0, then the second thing is that we can also calculate Z12, that is equal to V1 by I2 provided I1 is 0. Now, if you see Z12, that is a relationship between V1 and I2. Okay, so the voltage is input, but the current is output. Current is taken from output and the voltage is taken from the input. Provided I1 is 0, that means you are open circuiting the input port. You are not connecting the current, you are not connecting the source to the input, so I1 becomes automatically 0. Okay, so this is I1 is equal to 0. So Z12 is voltage is there, but input current is not there. Okay, so this may be a situation in which the input impedance you make it very high. Uh, so Z12 becomes equal to V1 upon I1, V1 upon I12. So it is known as reverse transfer impedance. Reverse transfer impedance. That means the the word is important here is transfer. Okay. When the same quantities are compared, for example V1 and I1, then we use the word driving point. If the different quantities we take ratio, in the case of two port networks, we name it transfer impedance. If similarly you calculate Z21, which is equal to V2 by I1, provided I2 is 0, you will get its name as forward forward transfer impedance. This reverse and forward are only the nomenclature. We are taking it forward because we are taking the ratio of 2 by 1 as forward. For example, if we have the V2 by I1, we will write it forward. If we have the reverse relationship, that means the port 1 parameter will be upwards and the port 2 parameter will be downwards. So we will call it as reverse transfer impedance. But transfer means This is also an impedance, but this is reverse because you are taking one port voltage and another port current. So all these parameters are there, and finally we can write down about the last parameter, that is Z22. So as you can see, it is 2 2. So first you will write voltage, and second you will write current, provided I1 is 0, that means the port 1 is open circuited. So this is known as open circuit output impedance, or driving point impedance, or driving point impedance, as seen from as seen from port port 2. So this is also a Thevenin impedance. This you can, in our language, in crude language, you can say that this is also Thevenin impedance. Thevenin impedance looked from port 2. Okay, so that means if you have to calculate the Thevenin impedance from port 2, you have to make the input side current as 0, and vice versa. If you have to look the Thevenin impedance from port 1, you have to uh, make the output current as 0. Now the equivalent diagram for this Z parameter, equivalent circuit diagram, we can draw like this. If you remember correctly, again I am writing that V1 is equal to Z11 I1 plus Z12 I2. V2 is equal to Z21 I1 plus Z22 I2. Okay, so these are the two equations, two KVL equations for Z parameters. Now, once you know all these things, uh, you can quickly draw the equivalent circuit diagram. You can also try in your notebook to draw the equivalent circuit diagram. Okay. Let me erase this, and then I will show you how easily I can draw it. Let me change the color first. Okay. So if you see this equation, let us see this equation. What is this equation? This is KVL equation. What it is telling, that V1, that is the port voltage at 1, is a function of I1 and I2. So we can, in mathematically, we can write down V1 as a function of I1 and I2. Similarly, V2 is also a function of I1 and I2. Now, how to show it this, how to draw the, because these are impedances. This Z1, as we have just seen, that this is the driving point impedance, this is transfer impedance, this is reverse transfer impedance, Z12, this is forward transfer impedance, and Z22 is the Thevenin impedance as seen from the port 2. This is the Thevenin impedance as seen from the port 1. So one thing is know that Z11, Z12, Z21, and Z22 all have the dimensions of impedance, because they are the ratios of V by I. So V by I will always give you the impedance. So that means Z11, Z12, Z21, and Z22 are constants, because V1 and I1 are having a linear relationship, and so always they will be constant. And the second thing is that they are impedances. So so we can say that we can draw it like this, that let us suppose this is our port number 1, this is 1, and this is 1 dash. So we can say that V1 is equal to Z11 I1. So Z11 is an impedance. So we can represent here it like this, Z11. Okay. And this is another quantity, Z12 and I2. So we can represent this Z12 I2 with a dependent voltage source. Okay, so we can represent it like this. This is a dependent voltage source whose voltage is dependent on, this is constant, its voltage is dependent on basically the output port current, that is I2. Okay, and let us connect this. And the current which is flowing here is I1. So if you put KVL, if you put this is 1 and this is 1 dash, this is plus, this is minus. So if you put KVL in this equation, what you can write down? You can write down V1 is equal to Z11 I1 plus Z12 I2. So this equation we have uh, written very easily, very quickly we can write it down, this equation. Similarly, we can for port 2. So this is port 1. This is port 1. Now see that the port 1 voltage is dependent on the port 2 current. That's why we have shown it with a dependent source. There is no other way through which we can show it. Okay, because if you show it with the constant impedance, then the current you have already defined I1. So in one loop, no two currents can flow. Okay, in one loop, only one current can flow. So we have to represent this Z12. Now Z12 is constant. Okay, so you can say this voltage source is this is some constant alpha and it is depending on the current of the port 2. Similarly, for port 2, we can draw the similar diagram. This is, let me change the color so it becomes more clear to you. Let us take this red color. So this is I am drawing for port 2. Okay. So for port 2, similarly you see V2 is equal to Z21 I1 plus Z22 I2. Quickly I can draw it like this. This is port 2. This is Z plus minus dependent voltage source, and the voltage source is dependent on I1, Z21 I1, and this is Z22. This is modeling of the system. Okay, we are modeling this system. This we have just written in terms of, we have earlier shown in terms of Z. So we are writing it in the circuit form so that we can easily solve it. Now Z22, Z21 I1, and this is the voltage here will be V2, and this is will be port 2. This is 2 dash, this is plus, this is minus, and the current which is flowing here will be I2. So if you see, this is port 1 and this is port 2. This is port 1 and this is port 2. So all these equations are satisfied. V2 is equal to Z21 I1 plus Z. This is a complete diagram of our network. We have written our network in terms of impedance parameters or Z parameters. Impedance parameters or Z parameters. And if you see, both these circuits are connected. It's not that they are isolated circuit, they are not isolated, but they are connected. Why? Because you see this current, the dependent voltage source, the current I2 is flowing in this circuit and the current I1 is flowing in this circuit. But this dependent voltage source of this circuit is depending upon I1 as seen by this equation, and the dependent voltage, the voltage source of this circuit is depending on the Z12 I2. So this is Z12 I2 and this is Z21 I1. So in a way, both are connected. If you have to solve this circuit, then you have to solve both the equations. That means you have to solve the circuit both from port 1 and port 2. Okay. So this way you can model, we can model our circuits. Z parameters are very, very useful and very, very easy to write. For example, for any circuit, you can easily write the KVL equations, and these KVL equations are basically the Z parameter equations. And similarly, if you write the KCL equations, they will become the Y parameter equations. So whatever we have written, we have uh, this is the impedance, and whatever we have modeled, we have a black box we have seen here. We can circuit point of view, we can draw it like this. So this is from my side. Next time when we will meet, we will go through the Y parameters and H parameters. So Y parameters will be just the reciprocal of the Z parameters, but we will have uh, a different relationship. That means now the V1 and V2 will not become dependent variables, but I1 and I2 will become the dependent variables.